Alright guys, welcome back to another Parks That Need. This is going to be going over theme parks that I think deserve a Skyrocket 2 by Premier Parks. Let's get into it. Remember to like if you like and subscribe down below for more videos. So when it comes to the Skyrocket 2 model, it is made by the manufacturer Premier Rides. It is a height of 150 feet, length of 863 feet, and is a max speed of 62 miles per hour, and it is a launch coaster. It is a launch coaster, obviously called the Skyrocket 2 for its model, and has one inversion, a inline twist that you can see at the top of that loop right there. You actually go really slow through that. You're pretty much going at a snail's pace through that, so it basically hangs you over. 100 feet, 50 feet in the air, it hangs you over as it goes through that element. So it's a very cool coaster, and it takes up basically no space whatsoever. It really is only like 100, I would say like only like 200 feet long, 150 feet tall, and it's really the width of it is pretty much only like 20 to 25 feet. So realistically, you could put this pretty much anywhere you could find, which is pretty good for a Skyrocket 2. So obviously its elements is it is a LSM launch, and that just means, and the multipass means that it goes forward once, it goes halfway up, goes backwards through a loop-like structure you can see right there at the rear, and then goes all the way through again. So it launches you 3 times through the station, so you can get you up that loop at a snail's pace at the top to go through it, and then down through another non-inverting vertical loop, basically a loop that never flips you upside down, and then gets you back to the station. So 3 launches. Technically it's just the same launch track each time, but it goes you forward, then back, then forward all the way through the course and back into the station. It's a nice powerful launch. I do like it. I do like the inline twist as well, and I do think a lot of parks need this, especially parks that don't have launch coasters or do not have, or have a small number of launch coasters. It is a very easy launch coaster to build, very space efficient, and doesn't cost that much. So when it comes to parks that have it already, Busch Gardens Williamsburg, Busch Gardens Tampa, SeaWorld San Diego, and Lake Compounds. There's also a bunch of Chinese and Japanese parks that have this, but I'm mostly talking about American and European parks that have it, which really only applies to America and Asia at the moment. There's not really any of them in Europe. So there's 4 American parks that had it. There's also one at Adventureland as well in Iowa. So that park also has one as well that they just made. So it does go to a lot of budget parks as well as the bigger parks. This is also coasters I wanted to mention, parks that already have 2+ launch coasters. I really don't think any of these parks would put one of these there unless they really wanted to. These are parks that they already have, like Canada's Wonderland, Cedar Point, Carowinds, Six Flags Fiesta Texas, Great Adventure, Great America, Kings Island, Magic Mountain over Texas. They already have 2 launch coasters, so really don't need this one. Kings Dominion and SeaWorld Orlando already have 3, so they really don't need one. Knott's Berry Farm technically has 4 when Montezuma opens. Walt Disney World also has 4, and then of course Universal Studios Orlando has 10 launch coasters, so realistically you don't need any launch coasters at Universal Studios because they already have 10. But for all these parks, they have 2 or more, so I don't see them getting one of these because it just doesn't fit into their lineup. Why would they get a budget launch coaster if they already have launch coasters of their own? But then we have parks that have 0 or 1 launch coasters. So Six Flags Mexico is the big one here. I do think they need one of these because honestly, Mexico doesn't have a single launch coaster, and the fact that it's part of the Six Flags chain means that they need a budget coaster for this park, and they definitely need a budget launch coaster like they gave Six Flags Over Georgia, which I have listed there with needing 1. I do think Six Flags Over Georgia needs another launch coaster because the Intamin like Power Splash spinning model is cool and all, but it's also kind of wimpy when it comes to launch coasters. It's really just a back and forth type of deal. But you have Michigan's Adventure and Worlds of Fun also don't have any launch coasters. These ones are part of the Enchanted theme park chain, so realistically not going to get anything unless it's budget, which is why I do think the Skyrocket 2 could work for at least maybe Worlds of Fun. But I did put SeaWorld San Antonio and Darien Lake on here as they have one launch coaster each. The reason why I think San Antonio may be next to get one of these is because the SeaWorld San Diego park already has one, so they could just copy and place another one here. They like to do that at the SeaWorld change. They like to give each of their parks something that the other parks seem to have, like San Antonio and Orlando both have hyper coasters. San Diego and Orlando have a family launch coaster. So I do think that San Antonio will probably get one of these in the coming years, because San Diego just got theirs. So maybe San Antonio down the line will get one as well. But Darien Lake is a Six Flags chain, so is New England. The reason why Discovery Kingdom has that star next to that one is because, just like Knott's Berry Farm, they're currently working on building their second launch coaster, so they don't really need another launch coaster. But that launch coaster is still not has been planned to be built. We don't know if it actually will be built yet. So they have one in the canister to be built yet, but we don't know. And then we have New England, only has one coaster. Darien Lake only has one coaster. Georgia, I just mentioned. Those three Six Flags parks only have one coaster. Dorney Park also only has one coaster, but it is similar to the Skyrocket 2 in that it is a intimate impulse coaster. Those coasters are very similar to Skyrockets, so I do not see just Dorney Park or Discovery Kingdom getting a Skyrocket 2, because they already have a very similar ride, an impulse coaster. But Six Flags St. Louis also only has one coaster, Frontier City, and Valley Fair as well. But Valley Fair also has an impulse coaster, very similar model, so probably not going to get one. Alright, so first we head to Six Flags Mexico. I think that this coaster is primed. It is a perfect fit at this park. I think they really desperately need a launch coaster here, especially because you can see this park is very compact, so they really do need some sort of launch here, and I think they can make it happen because they do have some spaces for it. I do think there is a DC area plot next to Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster. They could put one there as well next to the Skyflight. Name it Flashpoint, so it's themed to the Flash. Or there is a street view plot that they could call Rocketeer. I do think this is a basic name that you could give to this roller coaster, and you could put it right next to the other coaster that was just added, Slingshot. Michigan's Venture is up next. They have 0 launch coasters, so it makes sense to put one here, especially a budget park like this. This park has not gotten a coaster since 2007. That red coaster in the back, Thunderhawk, is their last addition to this park. So in 2007 was their last coaster. So you definitely need a budget for this park, because obviously they don't have the budget for any big coasters. So I do think there's 2 plots that you could have here. The lakefront plot, I would call it Stunt Pilot. It's basically right next to the lake in the center of the park. Or you could have the red forest plot be called Thunderbolt, because they have Thunderhawk. You could just call this one Thunderbolt. It makes sense. You really want to theme these launch coasters to either have electric themes, or in this case, a Stunt Pilot or Pilot tier theme, because it does shoot you up into the air and then flips you over in the air, similar to a jet stunt show. The other one is Worlds of Fun. This one also has 0 launch coasters. I think these 3 parks desperately need a coaster like this, because they don't have any launch coasters whatsoever. For Worlds of Fun, they have a ton of areas you can do, and of course it's themed to the 5 continents of the world. So you could have an Asia plot, I would call it Rocketeer. Europe plot, you can call it Escape from Pompeii, theme it to escaping from a volcano style event. Africa plot, call it Ring of Fire, because it is a ring-shaped coaster, so you could call it Ring of Fire, give it a nice red color scheme. Or the entrance plot next to the entrance near the Planet Snoopy area, you can call it the Red Baron, theme it to the Snoopy the dog, as it since it's near Planet Snoopy, call it the Red Baron, give it a red color theme, and make the ride vehicles look like the Red Baron planes. Of course, then we talk about SeaWorld and Antonio. I think this park is next on the list as most likely to get one of these, because it is a SeaWorld park, and SeaWorld owns the Busch Garden chain. Both Busch Garden parks have a coaster, have a Skyrocket 2, and the one in San Diego has one as well. The only reason why I don't think this would go to Orlando is because they already have 3 launch coasters, so they really don't need a 4th one. But San Antonio only has 1 launch coaster, and that is the new Rescue Racer they just got. So I do think, since they have a family launch coaster, maybe they need a thrill launch coaster. I think they'd put it next to the Sea Lion area, call it Electric Eel, basically the same name as the one in San Diego. Put it next to that one. They have a nice forest plot right there. You can put it in between the Sea Lion show and the lake area. But then we get into the Six Flags park. So Six Flags Darien Lake only has 1 launch coaster, so they definitely could need another one. And I would put this one either in the lakefront plot, similar to Michigan's Adventure, putting it right on the Darien Lake area, and call it Stunt Pilot. So it's like you've got a stunt show style theme there, or you could put it in the forest plot and call it Thunderbolt, similar to the plot at Michigan's Adventure. Darien Lake and Michigan's Adventure are very similar parks in the fact that they are built around lakes, and that I do think that you could call it either Stunt Pilot for the Lakefront plot or Forest Plot and Thunderbolt. Alright, so when it comes to Dorney Park, they already have an Impulse Coaster, so I do not think that they need a Skyrocket 2, but I just wanted to overview where I'd probably put one. I'd put this one call it Rocketeer and put it by the entrance. It has they do already have a good entrance coaster in Iron Menace, but I do think if they wanted to have a entrance coaster a little bit closer to the main entrance, they put it in the Food Fest area, call it Rocketeer, and just have a Skyrocket 2 launch coaster right there. But they already have an Impulse Coaster, so very unlikely that they're going to put a coaster here, but if they do that is similar to the Impulse Coaster, they can just put it in the front entrance of the park. Another one, Six Flags New England, they only have one launch coaster again, so you probably want to put another launch coaster here. I'd put one right next to the one they just got, Quantum Accelerator, in Cracksicle Canyon plot, call it Rocketeer. Seems like a good name for it. But there's also a great name for a coaster that was going to exist at Six Flags New England called Thunderama in the Forest plot, and I do think since this is in the Looney Tunes Movie Town area, you could theme it to a Looney Tunes character, maybe Daffy Duck or Bugs Bunny or Yosemite Sam, attach like rockets as the coaster track, maybe theme it to Wile E. Coyote as well, make the coasters like little missiles or rockets, and then call the coaster Thunderama, owing back to the coaster that could have been at Six Flags New England but was never built. I didn't think this coaster would be a good fit, especially in the Looney Tunes area. You can make the coaster themed to rockets or explosions, because obviously it's a Looney Tunes. But that's just my fit for Six Flags New England. They just got a new launch coaster, their first launch coaster. I do think they need another one, and I think this is a good budget coaster for Six Flags. Then when it comes to Six Flags Over Georgia, they just got their first launch coaster. I think they need more launch coasters. They need a better launch coaster than the Skyrocket 2, honestly, but when it comes to Six Flags, they're a budget theme, and they're going to put budget coasters in their smaller parks. So Six Flags Over Georgia, there are 3 different places you could put this. You can put it in the entrance plot, Rocketeer, put it next to the behind the gazebo area between the log flume and Goliath. You can also put it in the Gotham area, call it Joker Ring of Laughter. They used to have one of those Ring of Fire rides where the coaster goes back and forth through a loop. They could just make a new one of this, but call it a Skyrocket, but make it a Skyrocket 2 instead and call it Joker Ring of Laughter. Put it in the old plot where the Kid Flash coaster used to be, because that coaster is no longer with us. Or you could put in the Old West plot and call it Golden Lasso, theming it to either Wonder Woman or just a lasso from a cowboy, and make the coasters maybe themed to horses or gold-style trains. Another park is Six Flags St. Louis, but this one is not part of the Six Flags chain anymore. They still have the branding of Six Flags because it's kind of central to their IP, but they don't have they're not part of the Six Flags chain anymore, so they really do need a budget coaster. They only have one launch coaster in Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. It is a great launch coaster, but I do think they could put another launch coaster in their park. They could put another Mr. Freeze style ride right next to Mr. Freeze and call it Night Cycle, so basically theme it to Robin from DC, because he is a menace. Him and Mr. Freeze do beef constantly in the comics, so you could theme it to Robin, call it Night Cycle. Or you could put one next to the Batman inverted roller coaster at Six Flags St. Louis and call it the Batwing. So basically a Batman, the ride, and then Batwing, his aerial craft. But there's also the Forest plot as well next to the boss that you could call this Stunt Pilot just a generic name and put it in the Forest plot. Any of these plots work, but I do think a Batman or Robin theme would be pretty good for this coaster park. And then we have Valley Fair, another enchanted park that only has one launch coaster. This one also has an impulse coaster next to the front of the entrance, so most likely not going to get one here because they already have a launch coaster that's similar to a Skyrocket 2, but this park desperately needs coasters, so I'm still going to entertain it as an option for this park. There are two areas. You can either put it by the Wild Thing hypercoaster plot, call it Stunt Pilot, or the park entrance plot and call it Rocketeer. And then finally, the last park that I'm going to entertain is Hershey Park. They only have one launch coaster, and it's been a long time since Storm Runner was added, so I do think they need another launch coaster, but Hershey Park has one of the few things, which is size constraints. They don't have a lot of land to work with, especially because it isn't just Allentown, Pennsylvania, and it's more about being, a candy style park than being an actual roller coaster park. So not really going to add a lot of roller coasters here, but if they were, there is the Candemonium plot between Candemonium and the rear entrance of Chocolate Town. You could put a Skyrocket 2 right there in the blue area, but that is a edge case scenario because Hershey Park is of course a candy park first and a roller coaster park second. So when it comes to when I'm ranking these based on how likely I think these are going to happen or how likely I really want these to happen, top priority Six Flags Mexico. It's a Six Flags park without a launch coaster. They need a launch coaster of any means, even if it is a budget coaster like the Skyrocket 2s. Must have SeaWorld San Antonio. They're pretty much going to get one of these in the next 5 years, if not immediately, because they've already seen one in San Diego go up. I think they're just going to clone it and put it at San Antonio because they only have one launch coaster. Worlds of Fun needs one as well because they're kind of a budget style park, but they do have the land to make it work. So I do think that Worlds of Fun should get one of these because they don't have any launch coasters whatsoever. And in Six Flags Darien Lake, it works because they only have one launch coaster, and again, a Six Flags park that desperately needs more coasters. When it comes to Field Filler, I'm talking about Dorney Park because they already have a impulse coaster, so probably not going to happen. But if they did need another launch coaster that is in their budget, they could go with the Skyrocket 2. And then Six Flags Over Georgia desperately needs a second launch coaster, but of course they don't. They just got one, so they do have a budget, so they could just go with this budget coaster as well. And then finally, Budget Park, Six Flags St. Louis, Valley Fair, and Michigan's Adventure. All three of these desperately need a coaster like this, but Valley Fair already has one that's similar to it. Michigan's Adventure doesn't really get any coasters anymore because they are very lowest of low budgets. And then Six Flags St. Louis already has a launch coaster, so maybe Six Flags or Enchanted Parks doesn't want to put any coasters here, any more launch coasters, because they're like, oh, they already have one, don't need to add another one. And then No Way Jose, Frontier City already has a launch coaster and probably has the smallest budget of every park on this list, so probably not going to happen. Same thing with Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. They really don't have, they're a budget park. They already have another launch coaster being built in the future, so they probably aren't going to have one in the near future. And then Hershey Park is a family park. They don't really focus on coasters that much, so it really is a family fun park first, coaster park second, and they don't have a lot of land to work with, so probably No Way Jose on that one as well. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, remember to like if you like, dislike if you don't, subscribe down below if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Toodaloo!